All right, welcome in episode 14 of Taking the Field. I'm starting to sound like a bit of a broken record here because we have some big news in the world of professional lacrosse, and this time it comes with the announcement of fantasy lacrosse coming to the PLL and its fans starting this summer with the championship series. Now, the announcement comes from Pro Lacrosse Talk in partnership with Flow Fantasy Lacrosse to create the first ever fantasy lacrosse experience for the fans of the PLL. And how it will work is the league will basically operate just like how any other fantasy league you might have dealt with operates. There will be a draft at the beginning of the season, then you'll go through free agency, trades, and things like that as the season goes on. Now, the season obviously being a little bit shorter this year because the championship series is only 2 weeks long or so in total, starting in the end of July. But you'll have draft, free agency, trades. You can either join a league or create one for yourself, and you compete against other players within that league. Now, the season in this case for fantasy lacrosse will start on July 10th according to the Flow Fantasy website, and the season will consist of those 2 weeks. During the championship series, you'll play one matchup, it sounds like, each of the 2 weeks. You'll have 2 games in total, and the stats for the matchups will come directly off of the PLL website after the conclusion of each of the PLL games on each day. So during your matchups, when one of the PLL games ends, within an hour or so, once those stats are input into the PLL website, the Flow Fantasy Lacrosse site will update those stats to your team specifically, so you can kind of see where you are in your own specific matchup after each and every one of those games finishes up. And really, as if we needed more reasons to watch the PLL this summer, we've actually been given several reasons to. I mean, a few weeks ago we were introduced to the idea of sports betting into the PLL, and now we're given fantasy lacrosse as well with Pro Lacrosse Talk and Flow Fantasy Lacrosse. And I think that for the PLL, both of these things are going to be huge in the development of the league moving forward from 2020 and beyond, with the announcement of the championship series in July, which right now they are officially still the only professional sports league in North America to officially announce that they will in fact be playing this summer. The MLB and the NHL and NBA all coming closer by the day to getting there, but the PLL currently the only one officially ready to go this summer. And so really what these 2 things have allowed them to do, or 3 things really, with the championship series itself, what these things have allowed them to do is bring as many viewers to the game as humanly possible this summer, and like I said, potentially on into the future. And for them, from a marketing standpoint, that is huge, because it just gets people to interact with the sport like they never have before, with the addition of things like sports betting and like fantasy lacrosse. So people will be watching, they'll be interacting, they'll really be paying attention more so than maybe they ever have before in the history of this sport. So this is a huge summer for the growth of lacrosse in general, not even just at the professional level. So once the season really comes around in late July, as we've talked about, this podcast will be sort of evolving with that, and we'll be doing some things with the sports betting. We'll have discussions on that during this podcast when that comes time to it. And now we'll also be able to include fantasy lacrosse segments into the show as well, and incorporate that in some ways as well moving forward into June and July when we get closer to the start of that PLL championship series. So big things coming for this show, big things coming for the sport of lacrosse, and especially at the professional level here in America. So that'll do it for this episode of Taking the Field. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this post. Let me know what you guys think about the idea of doing fantasy lacrosse and what you're most excited about with that. Let me know what you guys think about the whole idea of sports betting with lacrosse and the PLL, and let me know what you guys think about just the championship series in general, as we're just inside of 2 months away from that getting going on July 25th. So once again, that'll do it for this episode of Taking the Field. Thanks for listening.